All right, let's get Ben Golliver on from Blazersedge to talk about the hardest tanking team in hoops.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Good, Ben. How are you?
I'm good. Beckley, congratulations on your big promotion. I think since last time we talked, so get that out of the way early. I'll kiss some ass right up front.
That's how we like it. You have to kiss ass to my kind of weird job talking about flopping all day. Dude, what is going on in Portland?
Man, it's a mess, man. It's crazy. And this is it's really strange because you listen to the management guys and they can talk themselves into it. It's just like the strongest case of myopia ever. And they keep getting in these situations where they don't step back and take the bigger picture approach. And they keep focusing on, okay, we had this crisis at the start of the season. Brandon has to be amnestied. Greg Oden has a setback. LaMarcus Aldridge has this heart procedure. All happens on one day. And they focus on how they responded to that crisis, right? Again, here at the trade deadline, they felt they were in a crisis situation. The team quits on the coach. They admit point blank that Nate McMillan lost his locker room. They've obviously got a crisis. They've got to trade off 2 starters and totally rebuild, and they focus on how well they manage that crisis. But the obvious conclusion that everyone from the outside sees is, hey guys, like why not establish a framework of an organization where you're not constantly managing crises? Doesn't that seem a little bit obvious? Why not hire a full-time general manager, a guy who might be able to steady this ship? Why not empower him like a normal team would? Why not, at the end of this season, make your first priority finding a full-time head coach and moving forward with that? I talked to Larry Miller at the press conference on Thursday. They would not even commit to hiring a GM or a coach prior to the 2012 NBA draft. They're on pace to have 2 lottery picks in that draft. Obviously, that is going to determine the next 3-4 years of your franchise, how you handle that draft situation, and they won't even commit to having a timeline to putting those guys in place by then. It just shows you that these guys are in their own world right now, and we can all just kind of sit back and laugh about it,
I really enjoy it, just for the simple fact that, 1, it's not my team. 2, it's a soap opera. Like we always use that analogy of, oh, this is like a soap opera, but it is like there's a twist. Paul Allen needs an exorcism. Nicholas Batum fell down a well.
Who's coming back from the dead? Who has amnesia?
Yes, someone's gonna have amnesia at some point. It's a brilliant soap opera that I think that just has so many levels, and I actually love the way they've handled this because it's. Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous, but we're just going to hit the reset button and try to rebuild, and we're not going to do it the conventional way. Some teams go into a draft without a coach. We're just going to not have a front office in place, and I think it's almost just admirable of Paul Allen giving a big middle finger to the league saying, I'm going to run this however the hell I want to.
Yeah, no, I think he just has pretty much a permanent middle finger to everyone at all times. But to kind of build on your idea about the soap opera, I don't know if you guys saw my piece sort of on their press conference, but the way I kind of presented it, it's like this is almost like a yearly social affair, right? The entire media comes out for this. You got every TV station. You got people I haven't even seen cover the Blazers all year long who make a point on whenever someone's going to get fired. That's like the day. That's like, almost Christmas or whatever for the media. So they had probably 9 or 10 cameras. And, Portland's not a huge city. And there's only 4 local, television stations. So there's 9 or 10 cameras all lined up for this press conference. First, 2 years ago, it's Kevin Pritchard. Last year, it's Rich Cho. This year, it's Nate McMillan. I mean, it really is. It's like this cyclical calendar thing where you almost have to be there so you can say you've been there. It's like the coolest ball of the year.
Yeah. So who is actually making decisions in the front office? Is it clear at all? Do you have any idea?
It's a really good question. James is your producer, right? James books your guests, and James is in charge of making sure I line up. So if you went to James and said, hey, okay, do we have Ben on the phone? And James would say, yeah, we do. We're good to go. If this was the Blazers analogy, you would say, hey, James, did you line Ben up? And James would go, oh, it was me personally that made the decision to line Ben up on the phone. I was the one who got this guest on, and now we're going to go forward. there's this major overcompensation among their executives, and that's acting GM Chad Buchanan, but especially President Larry Miller. And they make a concerted effort every time they address the media to explain that it's their decisions that they're giving to Paul Allen, and Paul Allen is basically signing off on their decisions. So you can read between the lines as well as anyone else. Somebody else is making those decisions, probably Paul Allen. He does have one close advisor, and that's going to be Burt Cold. He tries to stay in the background. They're friends basically since their college days. I think those two guys, generally, it's whatever they get frustrated about, they make the decision to basically blow somebody up, and it's going to be Larry and Chad's decision to kind of, orchestrate that blow up. But at this point, I mean, it really is pretty much Paul Allen's team, and it has been for a long time. The tricky part is that not only do they have all these, weird relationships between those executive staff members and the ownership level, but keep in mind, they also have basically 3 assistant GMs at this point. Why? Nobody knows, because they're left over from when Rich Cho was fired. They also have a stat guy who's almost on the level of an assistant GM, or a salary cap guy, I should say. And then they've got an entire team of stat nerd guys, sort of like us, who just all they do is crunch numbers all day. So their front office is like, I don't know, 15 people deep, 12 people deep. So you try making a decision, I mean, how does that process work?
Is it possible that you could just put on a Blazers polo and slacks, walk into the building, and convince, payroll that you are actually a paid member of the staff and just be a glitch in the system for a year or two?
Well, I tried to do that and put on Luke Babbitt's jersey earlier this season. Didn't work. So, I mean, they know who I am at this point. They already got security alerted. But that's actually funny that we're talking about security, because who informed Larry Miller that Kevin Pritchard had been fired on draft night 2010? They're going in the draft room, and they're getting ready to go, and then all of a sudden the report hits that Kevin Pritchard's been fired. Larry Miller found out that Kevin Pritchard was fired from a security guard at the practice facility when he went out to get some fresh air. So that tells you all you need to know about how information flows in this organization, this town.
All right, Kevin,
that's a true story. I didn't make that up. That is a 100% true story.
I like that.